Canadian winter, a beautiful beast, unpredictable, relentless, and breathtaking all at once. As the season changes and our winter adventures wind down, we wanted to take a moment to recap some of the highs and lows we encountered during our adventures, as well as share some things we learned along the way. This winter, we spent more time outside than in. The cold didn't stop us, it called to us. Whether we were tucked into a survival shelter or warming up in the glow of a hot tent stove, one thing always came first: firewood. Harvesting wood in winter is more than a chore. It's a rhythm, a routine that begins before the fire is even lit. It's your heat, your comfort, your survival. We always start by looking for standing deadwood. It burns cleaner and catches faster. The tools matter. A good saw and a sharp axe make the job safer and smoother. And knowing how much you'll need, that comes with experience, and usually underestimating the first few times. You'll go through wood fast, especially if there's no insulation. It means harvesting more, processing more, and keeping that fire going all night. A hot tent changes the game. A small stove burns efficiently, and you can sleep warm through the night. We've learned that wood is the currency of winter. You either have enough or you suffer. It's not glamorous, but it's real. And when that fire's crackling and the snow's falling, it's worth every swing of the axe.
Nice, eh?
Cold's not always your biggest problem out here. Sometimes it's moisture.
We had some humidity in here.
Condensation sneaks up on you, and if you don't manage it, it can soak your gear and ruin your sleep.
There's a puddle on my bed.
You breathe, you sweat, you bring snow in on your boots. Every bit of that turns into moisture in your shelter. And in freezing temperatures, that moisture clings to everything. Then it melts. Then it refreezes over and over again. In a survival shelter, space is tight and airflow is limited. That's a recipe for damp gear and a cold night. You might have a fire going, but if there's no way for the moisture to vent out, it's just building up inside. Now, hot tents are warmer, no doubt about it, but crank up that stove and you'll notice the same thing: moisture building fast. Next thing you know, there's water dripping from the ceiling and your gear's soaked.
We had a lot of condensation in the hot tent, lots of water droplets on the face. But we ended up opening some flaps in the hot tent and getting some cold air in, so.
The fix is simple, but it takes discipline. Vent your tent, even if it's cold.
I feel like it's cold in here still.
It is cold in here, yeah. Hot and wet or cold and dry. We chose cold and dry.
We should have chose hot and wet.
This winter taught us something simple. Don't just fight the cold, fight the wet. If you're not drying your gear and venting your shelter, you're setting yourself up for a rough time. There's something about winter that makes food taste better. Maybe it's the cold, maybe it's the work, but out there, a hot meal isn't just a break. It's the reward. We don't do freeze-dried out here. Not when we've been cutting wood, hauling gear, hiking through snow. We want real food, meals that stick with us. Steak, potatoes, beans, chili simmering over the coals. That's what gets us through the cold. That first bite after a long day, it hits different out there. We take our time with meals. It's not just about eating, it's about the ritual. Chopping, stirring, waiting. You settle into it. And when the fire's going and dinner's cooking, there's nowhere else you'd rather be. Sometimes we don't say much. We just sit there, plates in hand, letting the food do the talking. A good meal brings silence in the best way. There's a satisfaction to eating like this. Hearty meals with real weight. It's not fancy, but it's full. And after a day of cold wind and hard work, that's exactly what you want. In winter camp, food matters, not just for energy, but for morale. It lifts you up. It reminds you why you came out here in the first place, to live a little harder and eat a little better. We don't just cook food to stay fed. We cook to stay grounded, to stay warm, to stay human. Out here, a good meal is everything.
Oh, you garbage.
Gear matters. Having the right gear isn't enough. It's gotta work. Out here, failure doesn't just slow you down, it can shut you down. We've been there. Snowmobile issues miles from camp, chainsaws that wouldn't run. When your gear goes down in winter, it's a different kind of problem.
That's it. I actually thought I heard like ding. Just got off the sled, turned around, and the sleigh's not there.
You don't just lose convenience, you lose time, energy, and sometimes safety. We've learned to plan better, to prep better, run the chainsaw before the trip, tune the snowmobile, sharpen the axe, bring backups for the backups when it matters. When everything's running right, it changes the whole rhythm of camp. You're not fighting your gear, you're working with it, and that makes space for what you're really out here for. With that, I'd say it's a wrap on winter. It pushed us, taught us, and reminded us nothing worth doing comes easy, but with the right gear, good food, and solid planning, we made it through. We dealt with breakdowns, frozen hands, long nights,
Robbie's taking the ambition to get up and try and get the fire going.
and moments that made it all worth it. And now, spring is on the doorstep. A new season means new challenges, new chances to explore, to fish, to paddle, to hike, to reach ground we couldn't reach a month ago. The quiet wild is changing, and we're ready to follow it. And with that, we want to take this opportunity to thank you for coming along with us this winter. Stick around because spring and summer, they've got stories of their own. We'll see you on the next one.